I never thought that a single choice on a rainy evening could change my entire life. My name is Emily Carter, and until that night, my world felt predictable, safe, but suffocating. I lived in a quiet suburban town in North Carolina, where everyone seemed to know one another, and stories traveled faster than the wind. I worked as a literature teacher at the local high school, spending most of my days surrounded by books, grading essays, and pretending I wasn't lonely. That evening began like any other. I had stayed late at school, finishing lesson plans, listening to the distant patter of rain against the windows. By the time I finally packed up, the storm had thickened into heavy sheets of water that blurred the parking lot. I sprinted to my car, umbrella flipping uselessly in the wind, and slid into the driver's seat, soaked and exhausted. My wiper struggled against the downpour as I drove, gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping me from drowning. It was on that deserted road, headlights slicing through the rain, that I saw him. A man was pulled over on the shoulder, standing beside a car with its hood propped open. He was drenched, his hair plastered to his forehead, his hands moving desperately as if he could will the engine back to life. Most people would have driven past without stopping, but something inside me resisted. Maybe it was instinct, or maybe it was the loneliness I had been burying for years, but I slowed down. I rolled down the passenger window. Water sprang into the car. "Do you need help?" I shouted over the storm. He turned, startled, but relief washed across his face. His eyes, though weary, held warmth. "Yeah, my car just died. No reception out here either. You'd be saving me if I could catch a ride into town." His voice was steady, low, carrying both gratitude and humility. Against every cautious voice in my head, I nodded. "Get in." He grabbed his bag from the passenger seat of his car and ran to mine, sliding in with a wet thud. The scent of rain and cologne mixed, and I felt the air in the car shift. "I'm Daniel," he said, brushing water from his jacket. "Emily," I replied, turning the heat up as the storm roared around us. The drive into town was slow, the roads slick, visibility poor. Conversation, however, flowed easily. He told me he was a carpenter, newly moved to town, working on restoring old homes. He had been driving back from a late project when his car gave out. There was a quiet strength in him, but also vulnerability. Something about him reminded me of stories I taught my students, characters caught between what they wanted and what life demanded. By the time I dropped him at a small inn, the rain had calmed to a drizzle. He thanked me earnestly, his gaze holding mine just a second too long. I drove home with a strange feeling stirring in my chest, one that followed me even as I climbed into bed. The days that followed turned that fleeting encounter into something deeper. A week later, I ran into him at the local coffee shop. He was sitting by the window, a notebook open, pencil in hand. When he saw me, his face lit up with recognition. "Emily, the rain rescuer," he teased. I laughed, sliding into the seat across from him. What began as polite conversations stretched into hours. We spoke about books, about why he loved crafting furniture by hand, about my fear that I was living a life too small for me. With Daniel, I didn't feel like a teacher stuck in a routine. I felt like a woman rediscovering pieces of herself she had forgotten. Weeks turned into months. He'd stop by the school with coffee for me on days I had early meetings. I'd visit his workshop, the air smelling of sawdust and varnish, watching him shape wood into something lasting and beautiful. He was patient, precise, and deeply passionate about his craft. And with time, I realized he was just as intentional with me. There was a moment one late evening when he walked me to my car outside the coffee shop. The air was crisp, leaves crunching under our shoes. We lingered, neither wanting to leave first. He reached for my hand, hesitant but steady. "Emily," he said softly, "I don't know where this is going, but I don't want to stop." And I didn't stop either. Something in me, long dormant, came alive. It wasn't reckless. It was real, rooted in trust and respect. But life is never without conflict. The small town noticed. Whispers spread among the faculty at school and in the community. "The teacher and the carpenter," people muttered. Some said it wouldn't last. Others said I was foolish for investing my heart in someone new. For a while, I let those voices get to me. I almost pulled back, afraid of judgment. Daniel noticed my hesitation. One evening, while he was working in his shop, I sat on the bench watching him. The silence was heavy until he finally set his tools down. "You're pulling away," he said quietly. I lowered my eyes. People talk. Maybe they're right. Maybe I should. He stepped closer, lifting my chin gently. "Emily, I don't care what they say. What matters is how we feel. I won't stop if you won't." His words steadied me. I realized that love, true love, wasn't about pleasing others. It was about showing up, about choosing each other even when the world doubted you. So I didn't stop. Neither did he. Seasons changed. Our bond only grew stronger. He taught me how to build with my hands, how to see beauty in imperfection. I encouraged him to dream bigger, to open his own small business. Together, we built not just furniture but a foundation of trust and hope. Years later, looking back, I still remember that rainy night as the beginning of everything. One decision, to stop, to take a chance, shifted the course of my life. I didn't stop, and neither did Daniel. And because of that, we found a love that was steady, enduring, and real.